Recording is on. Good day, everyone. We coming back together again as a family of Yah to study His calendar. And today we're going to talk about a topic that you may not hear too often, but it will be brought up when you're looking at the sun and Mazzaroth. This may be a debate you may hear from very few Israelites. It's only a few Israelites that I have seen that talked about this topic, but this is a sign we definitely need to look at so we can understand what this sign is, what it represents, and then we need to go to the prophets of Yah and see what our Father say. What is His instructions? Should we include it in Mazzaroth or should it be left out of Mazzaroth? We, in other words, what do our Father have to say about this? Because He made all things. All right. So, what you see before you is a picture of the 13th sign, giving you more of a 3D view of what it would look like in a 3D form. And when we go to the article, I take you what it would look like in the star constellation form. So take this time now to pause your screen and meditate, because as you see that looking at this sign is going to reveal something deep unto us. Okay. All right. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go in prayer today. Our sister Huda is going to lead us in prayer. Now, when we pray, what we do according to our Father commandments, we face the east. You understand what the east is and what it represents, or who will be coming from the east, or where His holy city is. Then you will understand our Father commandments and instructions. Now, to find the east, you will see it where you see the light rise first in the heaven, and also the sunrise in the eastward direction. Now, there are 2 times out the year where the sun will rise directly on the east point. Now, as we're praying, our Father asks us to do the following. Unto my brothers, He asks that you uncover your head, and unto my sisters, He asks that you cover your head. Remember, the physical going hand with the spiritual. Now, those who are not able to participate in that physical righteous act, remember you are covered under the new covenant, which is the renewed marriage. Okay. For Father is aware of those who are in prisons, jails, on their sick bed, or for whatever the reason may be, who cannot participate in that righteous act. But just know this: you are covered. But in His kingdom to come, we will keep what He instructs us to do, and we will not have any hindrance. So let us stand before the east, or face the east. And for my brothers, remember, uncover your head. And for my sisters, remember to cover your head, okay? And those who cannot partake in this righteous at this time, then remember you are covered. But the day is going to come where we will do what our Father asks us to do. All right, my sister, begin.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 92. Psalms, chapter 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the work of thine hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But mine horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of an unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eyes also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and my ear shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in their old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there's no unrighteousness in him. In the mighty name of Yahusha HaMashiach we pray. Amen.
So be it, sis. That prayer is right on time. Right on time. All praises to Yahuwah. Oh, and you even mentioned the word Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Which is going to touch on the next area. We're going to go to the announcements. For our family, continue to make sure your calendars are up to date for the 8th month, which is known as Bull. When we get a chance, I will be reviewing with y'all to make sure that y'all are understanding on how to fill out your calendars. Also, we have a little extra credit homework assignment. Well, of course, I hate to say extra credit because, we don't have a grading system or anything, but this is something to be more self-rewarding. Let me see where I need to go first. Let me go to the announcement. Okay. And it's dealing with the 10 lost tribes. Since this is the month of November, yesterday there was a video putting out on a special. So in that video, go to the video description box and you will see how it connects to the 10 lost tribes. Okay. But also within that video, it's really deeper, another area that you want to study, especially when you're with the Most High Calendar. Okay. For that video reveals something deep about Thanksgiving or the giving of thanks. Okay. That many do not realize whether the idea or the concept of Thanksgiving or the giving of thanks come from. Okay. So in the video, it does mention this, but I put a post on YouTube dealing with the 10 tribes of Israel or the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And when you get some time, you definitely want to check out this post because it's going to confirm what that video revealed dealing with the Thanksgiving special. Okay. Remember, everything is connected. It's just like a wheel. Everything's connected. All right. I do want to say this because I know many people have different opinions and thoughts about this, but the Most High is revealing his truth now. First, it's revealed through the prophets, such as Moshe, Ezra, even in the work of Josephus, so where the 10 lost tribes went to, and they call this land either Osiris, which means another land, or they may call it Turtle Island because the entire land mass is in the shape of a turtle. Okay. Today, the Gentiles or the heathen call it the Americas. Remember, we have North America, South America, and their islands. Okay. And another thing that the Father is revealing is through archaeology. They are finding Hebrew relics, even the ancient Hebrew language over here. And they're wondering, how did these things come to be when the heathens claim to have discovered this place first? Like I said, it's very interesting. Now, we know that the heathens is going to show a different image of the 10 lost tribe. They're not going to show you the true image. They're not going to show you what Columbus saw when he first came over here. But the Bible gives you the characteristics of the Israelites, such as they have black or white hair. They are melanated just like their father Adam, just like the Messiah. He was ruddy. Okay. So they too will bear the same characteristics as their ancestors. Okay. And they have what? Kinky or woolly hair, just like a sheep hair. All right. Just like wool. Okay. So the Bible give you the characteristics of what the Israelites look like. Okay. Again, I know the heathen is going to say something else because the Father warned the Israelites, the heathens, if you don't keep my commandments, they are image of you and they want what you have. So therefore, they're going to do a lot of wicked things unto us because of who we are. Okay. Remember, we are the Most High inheritance. Okay. Meaning that he is our God. He's our ruler and our judge, and he is over us. He has given the principalities, the angels, to rule over the Gentile nations. Go back. It's in Torah. It's in Jubilees. It's in whereas also in the other books as well. Okay. So Israel was a nation that the Father created for himself, because when you study the history of mankind, they chose not to worship him, but yet they was taught about him. Okay. So through Israel, Israel was supposed to be a light unto the Gentiles, showing them how to worship the Most High, and hopefully it would have led them back to the Most High. But because Israel too was in flesh, they fell. This is where the Messiah come in. So to make a long story short, we know of the biblical prophecy. Everything will be restored back to its proper place, what the Father made things to be. This is why we see the heavens and the earth manifesting their signs, and they are moaning and groaning until the restoration of Yahusha come back into their proper place. And once we come back to our proper place, then peace will come on earth, and the earth will be ruled into righteousness. And then from that point, we will enter into the new eternal kingdom, which is the new heaven and new earth. And the Messiah will be the King of kings and the Lord of lords, and our Father in heaven will dwell with us. This is just highlights I'm giving to you. So that is something to check out on the YouTube channel, and it's under the community page. Okay. But far as the video that I'm talking about, oh, I don't want to go to creator. Okay. Don't want to do that one. Let me go back. Let me go here. And let me go here. There. Not community. I need to go to video. Keep hitting the wrong stuff. So when you go to the channel, you will find it under videos with this here at Thanksgiving special. Okay. And in the video description box, that's what I really want you to look at, because I give you some important links of how this all is interrelated to the prophecy that he has given unto us, revealing who are the Israelites, okay, as well as understanding what is Thanksgiving unto our Father, not in the ways of the heathen, but what is Thanksgiving to our Father, okay? Because again, remember, many are taught by the ways of the fourth beast, the Romans, okay? So many are not aware of what the Bible say what is Thanksgiving unto him, okay? So in the video description box, you'll find to that post I'm telling you about the 10 lost tribes of Israel in Americas. I need to put an S on that. And then you will also find YAHUAH prophetic message of him speaking himself through his messengers, let us know who are the Israelites. Okay. And then you can see how it relates to the calendar, which we'll go to the calendar next. So I will need to give you the date. So today's date for us, the heathens calendar, we're in the heathens month known as November. It is the 20th day of November in the year of 2021 AD. Okay, that's the heathen's day. Now, the Father don't roll like that. The Father is very different, because the Father told you through his foundation, which is Torah. He told you what his calendar is, and his calendar is made of 3 lights. It is the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. And when you understand what each light purpose is, you will learn as the Elohim head, the three come together to form one, giving you a governing body or a divine family that will rule over you and lead you and guide you and love you. I just love how the Father gives us many examples of that. Before I go to the calendar, let me go to this part because I will be sharing some copyright material with you, and we need to get that out of the way as well. It's taking some time to load. Let me go ahead and get the account uploaded to it. I know it's going to take some time. Takes a while for the internet. Okay, let me get back closer. So today's title is dealing with the 13th sign. The 13th sign. Okay. Now for the date. We are in the Most High 8th day from Adam. And the 8th day of Adam, when we convert it into from creation, it is the 13th day. Now, as far as the date from Enoch's 10-week prophecy, we are in the 8th week of Enoch's 10-week prophecy. As far as 7-day prophecy go, we are in the 5th day of the 7. Okay. Again, with my Father will, we will be going back to that 7-day prophecy because there's some other things that the Father has revealed that He wants you to know. Okay. So let's take a while to get down. Let me cut this on so I can get to it a little more quicker. Now we're in the 8th month of my count, and that month is known as school. And then as we go down to the 8th month to get the date, one of the scriptures I want to point out because it does go with that video, with the video, I think it's special, and in Exodus chapter 4, verse 21. For our Father unto us 6 days thou shalt work, on the day rest, and in time and in harvest thou shalt rest. So if you notice that in the 3 solemn feast days, those 3 solemn feasts is dealing with a harvest. And you notice that the Father had the Israelites to have a feast in regard to the harvest, celebrate the blessing He has given upon them. So this is why when about Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread, calls and tabernacles, when we read about them, we notice that we have days of holy convocation days, which is a day of rest, Father, because He wants to enjoy the fruits of your labor, just like He enjoyed of making His creations. He rested on the 7th day. So we know, such as the 7th-day rest, it can stand for a holy convocational day. It can stand for a week, a schedule, depending on the context of the verse. Now, other verses to read with this is Exodus chapter 23, verse 12, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12, and Luke chapter 13, verse 14. So as you see, everything is going hand in hand. You have agriculture going hand with the Father whole days. Okay. So in the 8th month, which is bull, and bull means increase produce. This is a Shabbat, and this is the second Shabbat. Remember, we have 4 Sabbaths, okay? And we are on the 50th day of the Most High 8th month. Now, far as a biblical event, you want to read 1 Kings chapter 12. For this is the day when the house of Israel committed idolatry. Read about that. Okay. Far as the date of the sun, we are in the sun's 8th month and 28th day. Far as the date of the heathens, we are in November the 19th, starting at sundown, ending on November the 20th, ending at sundown, from sundown to sundown. Remember, the sun going down marks between the two evenings, the ending of one day and the beginning of another day coming in. Okay. And we're in the second week of the Most High Calendar. Now, another special event that happened within this week, we had a blood moon. We also had the sighting of police. And we have learned from our last gathering that police is the sign of the first rains all the way to the latter rains. Okay, that is the sign that the Father would give unto us, fulfilling Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, with these lights, what they do. Okay, so our sister, let me go to our photos. Our sister was able to get a photo because we learned that that particular blood moon would not come out in the latter part of the night, that today that the heathens call morning, but you know what night is. That's when we have no light at that time. It's pretty much dark, but she was able to get a photo of it. So in the heathen month, November 2021 was seen on the 14th day, 8th month, and that 14th day, the 18th to the 19th, sundown to sundown. Right here is a picture provided by Sister Nay. It's taken at 4:07 a.m. 4:07 a.m. Okay. Let me look up a little bit where you can see this. There you go. And you can see some of the redness in the moon. Now I saw the moon, was not able to see the blood moon, but I was able to see the moon when she rose from the east that night, and she was nice and bright, and she was white. So I can tell y'all it's a big difference with Sister Nay's picture, let us know that the blood moon did happen. And those who have understanding of the blood moon, we know what that means. However, the heathens will be dismayed. Okay. Now this photo come in, okay. Now this photo come from Earth Sky. This is just it's like a drawing, a drawing to give an example of spec. But notice that even on this day that the police star cluster was invisible to be seen. We learned the prophets that it's made up of 7 stars. 7 stars. Thank you, Sister Nate, for providing that for us. Now, the 13th sign. Let's start with some definition first, and then we'll go to earthsky.org and hear what they have to say about the 13th sign. And you're going to see why it is important for us to learn about this, because that's an ongoing debate on how to view these star constellations versus like tropical versus sidereal. Okay, and I'll explain what those two things mean. Okay, first, let me try to say this word. Ophiuchus. And y'all, my tongue and this word, I may not say this word too often. So instead, you're going to hear me saying the serpent bearer or holder. Okay. The serpent bearer or holder. Now, according to the definition on Google, it says that that this star constellation or this sign is a large constellation known as the serpent bearer or holder, said to represent a man in the coils of a snake. Both the celestial equator and the ecliptic pass through it, but it is not counted among the signs of the zodiac. Now, when you read the work of Josephus, when we know that the Gentile use the word zodiac, but the Hebrew use the words Mazaroth, because Mazaroth, when you translate into English, means the 12 signs. Okay. So what this definition is telling us, it is not included. This sign here, the 13th sign, is not a part of Mazaroth. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I need to read this part. So we're going to leave from here. Now we're going to look at the definition of bearer, and you want to see why. Okay, before we go to the article. Bearer is, and we'll look at the noun, and we're going to look at number one. Okay, so number one is going to fit the context when we look at the serpent bearer or serpent holder. Okay, so according to the definition of bearer, it is a person or thing that carries or holds something. Okay. Some synonyms or words that have similar meaning to bearer are messenger, agent, conveyor, emissary, carrier, provider, runner, courier. Okay. Another definition is a carrier of equipment on an expedition. Words that has similar meaning to this definition are carrier, porter, conveyor, transporter. Okay. And the last definition of bearer is a person who carries the coffin at a funeral pallbearer. Now the next word I do want to look up is no, I think I want to look up hold. Hold. Why we line? What is the sign? Hold. Let's see which one is the best one. Okay, looking under the verb as hold, it means grasp, carry, support one's hand. Okay. To support with one's hand. And I'm going to start there because I want you to meditate the word bearer and holder. Bearer and holder, and you'll see why when we get to that article. So let's go to the Earth or article. Okay. So the 13th sign is the serpent bearer holding. Take on the word holder and bearer. What I'm thinking of some mind, something with support or uplift, something with support or uplift something or someone. Very important, because you're going to see why we really need to master what this sign is, because the Bible gives us the understanding and the knowledge of why we won't see it in Mazzaroth, or why it's not mentioned by the prophets. Okay. All right. So this is a picture of what, minimize this so you can see in the fullness, what our constellation like in heaven. That's what the inch. Okay. All right. Start here. Forgot constellation. December is sometimes called the 13th forgotten constellation of the zodiac. Remember, zodiac is the Gentile word for Mazzaroth, and Mazzaroth means the 12 signs. Okay? That's because the sun passes in front of the 13th sign about November the 30th to December the 18th each year. No one ever says they are born when the sun is in the 13th sign. All right. So the first thing we need to write down is November 30th to December 18th. You will see why it's so important, because when we go back to the prophets is given the knowledge and understanding of the guidelines of what we should observe and should be included. Okay. Remember, the Father ain't gonna leave you hangers. Go back to your foundation. He always sent out the prophets and the prophetess to teach you, to preach unto you, and to guide you on what is correct. Okay. So according to the article, that the usual time that the sun will be in front of the 13th sign is November the 30th to December the 18th. Okay, I'm back. It's the internet. Won't be surprised if I have some problems, but we'll still keep going. Okay, so I'm going to insert a chart. Y'all know me, I like to do my charts. Start with 3 bars. We go these two. We're going to center everything. So 13th sign, the serpent bearer or holder. And they said you should come out. Let me get those dates. November 30th to December the 18th. So November 30th to December 18th. And due to half of these two of these days, we'll merge this last one. We will get, and this is a simple way to do how many days November have. She has 30 days. I mean, not she, but it has 30 days. So it started on 30th day of November. So that's one day. And then as far as the month of December is giving us up to the 18th day. 1 plus 18 is 18. So we can say it can happen to 19 days. Okay, because remember we look at time. Okay, so it can be from 18 to 19 days. The time when we enter into that time. Okay, 18 to 19 days. Now you're gonna see why this is so important, because for my family, when we look at all our notes that we have been through, especially with the foundation, and now you will see why, or may get to understand it already, why this sign is not a part of Mazel. Okay, because remember, the prophets was given the formulas. There's some math involved. Okay. Again, the Father ways is not like ways. But let us keep reading the article. It says that the 13th sign is constellation, not a sign of the zodiac. So, of course, my Father will later on, because I know what I'm giving to fans should be reminded about last second on the 72. Meanwhile, the sun is in front of the constellation for very amounts of time. For example, in front of the constellation Virgo for about 1.5 months, and in front of constellation Scorpio about a week. Now, if y'all don't know about me, but you know my mind is already ticking, and what's light bulbs are going off, because we know what the prophets told us how the sun works, okay, with Mazzaroth. So right here, he's saying there's some variation on the amount of time the sun is in front of these constellations. A month and a half, and for Virgo, and a week for Scorpius. And this has a lot dealing with what they was talking about, constellation versus sign, but that's another topic. Okay. Now to this paragraph, what are astronomical constellations? So it's giving you a difference between astrological signs versus astronomical constellation. The ancient stargazers picked out patterns among the stars, named them, and associate them with legends and myths. And that's very true. Look at what the Greeks do. And look at how the world embraced the Greek cultures, even the Romans did. This is why you had the 10 brass nails, a part of the fourth beast. Okay. Early in the 20th century, the International Astronomical Union agreed on official constellation borders. So again, what we're seeing is they are setting up what they think is the correct borders. That's them. Okay. But again, we have to make sure what they think aligns to what Yah says through the prophets. So let's us continue to read and see what they come up with. The constellations vary in size and have many different shapes. The constellation of the zodiac are those in which the sun and moon and planets all travel. Question to my family. How do the sun and moon travel, y'all? What did we learn from first and second Enoch? How do they travel? Do I have someone that can try to answer that question? Oh, my screen. Okay. Thank you, sis. Did not realize that when my internet went in and out, that my screen did not come on. Thank you, sis. And I wonder if the recording's on. Like I said, you can tell that the enemy don't want this word to get out. Make sure that even my volume is working. Okay, my volume is working. All right. So, my question to my family, if someone can answer, is how do the sun and moon travel? How did they travel? What did we learn through the prophets? Anybody willing to take a guess? Okay. Everybody's silent right now. Remember what we learned through the prophet Enoch, that we learned that the sun traveled on his circuit, on his chariot, as well as he entered through the doors, the left. Very important to remember this, because you're going to see it's going to differ from what the Gentiles tell you through their knowledge. But let us continue to read. Okay? So I'm going to read this part again. Early in the century, so that was in the 1900s, the International Astronomical Union agreed on official constellation borders. The constellations vary in size and have many different shapes. The constellation of the zodiac are those in which the sun and the moon and planets all travel. Okay? So they're looking at the travel of the sun, moon, and all planets. For as long as anyone can remember, with 12 constellations of the zodiac, the names are named approximately as the 12 signs of the zodiac. So this is why there's some confusion, because the zodiac has the same name as the 12 signs. I'm sorry, the 12 constellation of the zodiac have the same names as the 12 signs of the zodiac. So this is where there's a lot of confusion. All right. If 13 sign also holds the sun within its border for a part of every year. Two, there are 13 constellations of the zodiac. The author of this is saying that this sign is a constellation. Okay, that's what this author is saying. The 13th sign is a short hop north of Antares. Okay, so let me go back to this picture here. I'm trying to see if I have that. You can see it saying. I think that word is down. Okay. It says here, you see the 13th sign, the serpent bearer, on these July nights. Its stars are faint, and you need a dark sky. Look for the 13th sign to the south at all from north than hemisphere. So for us, we are in the northern hemisphere, so you will look to your direction. How do you find south? South is between the east and the west to be to your right. Now, from the southern hemisphere, you will look more overhead around mid-evening. Okay. The bright red star Antares in the constellation Scorpius, the scorpion, can help you find the 13th sign. Look for the 13th sign on a short hop to the north of Antares. Okay. Like I said, I think it's right here if I'm looking at it correctly. The 13th sign, bright star, the second magnitude star called the R word, I'm not going to try to say this, highlights the head of the 13th sign. See the R word, 13th sign chart below. The R word is nowhere near as bright as Antares. Okay, so look at this chart. Okay, and there was the circle above it. Now the R word is right here. It is, and remember, it is one of the brightest stars, the 13th sign. Okay. Let me minimize this so you can see the entire picture. This time now to browse your screen. All right, let's go to the next paragraph. Sign, venom, and access to immortality. Now we know immortality means what? To live forever. Let's see what the Hebrews believe. Maps, the 13, the serpent bearer, it is depicted as holding serpents, the serpent. Let me say this again, as holding the serpent. Consider a separate constellation. According to Greek star lore, the 13th sign is I'm try to say this a word. The physician who concocted a healing potion from the serpent's venom, mixing it with the gorgon's blood and an unknown herb. This potion gives humans access to immortality. until the god of the underworld appeared to Zeus. Now, those who know your Bible, go to the book of Acts. The Greeks believed in Zeus. And when you look at Romans, their god of Zeus is named Jupiter. When you back to the book of Judges, let's go back to Baal worship, y'all. Okay? This is what they believe in. Another proof of what I'm trying to tell you, how they worship the hosts of heaven, and how you would see Greek mythology is the same as Roman mythology. Remember what they call Paul Barnabas? I think they call Paul Mercury, and they call Barnabas, what they call Barnabas? Anybody remember what they call Barnabas? Let's look it up right quick. That's what I don't like about the things. Let me do this. Takes a while. So let's go there now. Okay, that's not the first shit. Haven't got there yet. I was like, what in the world is that? Takes a while. Okay, yeah. Yeah, they call Barnabas Jupiter, and they call Paul Mercury. But again, it goes back to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and the Father gave the Gentiles over to worship hosts of heaven. And if you understand what the host of heaven is, dealing with them angels, as well as his nations in the heavens. Okay? Now, I have to read this sentence to you again because I really want you to understand the mindset of what he believed. This potion gave him appeal to Zeus to consider the ramification of the death of death. So they go to the principality of death and destruction. Satan cannot give you life. What salvation means to the heathens. Okay. Even today, the step of that word, you can find it in the symbol of health organization. Pay tribute to the constellation, the 13th sign, the serpent bearer. Y'all want to highlight this. You want to print this article, and you really want to highlight this. This is telling us something deep because I'll show y'all some images of why we see this symbol around us. And Daniel prophesies unto us about what empire we're in and who is ruling, which go back to the beginning of Genesis. They even find the symbol, the World Health Organization, pays tribute. See, the World Health Organization. I'm sorry. The staff of AWOR pays tribute to the sign, the serpent bearer. What is you? This star constellation go in hand with what they believe in. Okay, it relates to one another. And let me see, can I find that where you see what I'm talking about? Let's go to the first set. While it's doing that, let me go ahead and open up the other ones. I'm just checking to make sure everything's still working this end. So I know my internet and it's probably coming in and out. So now you can see the symbol in the World Health Organization because they are showing you who and who they worship. I'm going to go to the Bible to make clear. Okay, it's time now to pause your screen because you see a serpent on the staff. Now I know somebody's going to go to Numbers 21 and say, finally, they found the Bible. Again, they just understand things that are what they mean. Okay, so some pictures. Even on the ambulance, I have seen this symbol expressed on the ambulance. Like you see medical services, you have the serpent on the staff. Again, the heathens believe they can get immortality. If on the staff can heal them. Again, when we go to the Bible, we're going to get understanding what that means. And on what the article was talking about, that's what it looks like. So again, what King Solomon told this to y'all, where did they get these ideas and concepts? They got from the heathens, from the fallen ones, the angels. Okay? Now, most of us know what the living word tells us. He told us to mother, he said, I would put enmity between one seed, the serpent seed. So why would we have an image like this in this empire, in this kingdom? Again, going back to Genesis, when our foreparents fell, had them worship unto Satan. What do the living word also say about Satan? He is that serpent. We'll go to the scriptures because I want you to see what kingdom you are in now. And then you begin to understand why the second Adam has to come back as a lion, as the one with the iron rod. Okay? Here go another image. Even in the pharmaceuticals, they have this image as well. Dealing with. How can you know who your enemy is if you can't identify them? Hit them right before our face, right? Let's go to Revelation 12. I think it's 12:9 that we're going to look at. And this verse is telling you a lot. Go back to the foundation again to understand why this verse identifies Satan as a dragon who cast down. He is also identified as what? That old serpent. And he called the devil, who what? Deceiveth. So he got the whole world worshiping this image, believing that there's vitality or there's life with a serpent on a staff. Okay? That's who kingdom we're in right now. That's the one who's ruling, and he's giving you that through the symbols, through the images. But because I'm not walking with the spirit of Yah, we see what it was, or we misinterpret what the scriptures tell unto us. Okay? And the reason why I'm going here is going to be understanding why the prophets say there are 12 signs and not 13. You will see why we begin to understand the mindset of Yah. He did not give you that sign to determine the seasons. That sign is something else. Okay? So when we go to Numbers chapter 2, most of us are familiar with this biblical event. I'm going to read a chapter summary unto you. Say that Yashrael was lost, destroyed, the Canaanites at Hamah. The people are plagued with fiery serpents. They repent and are healed by a brazen serpent. Sun-dried journeys of the Israelites. Sihon is a verse 4. So let's start. Yeah, I do need to read this from top to bottom so we can see what's going on here. And they journeyed on Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. The soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. Okay, so because of the way they had to go, they got discouraged. Okay, and the people spake against Yahuwah and against Moses. So because they had to go that way, they began to what? Complain. Okay, so they begin to speak against our Father in heaven and against his servant, the prophet Moses, saying this, wherefore have ye brought us up? Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, not is there any water, and our soul loath this light bread. So again, this verse is showing you that they had faith despite of the great powers and wonders that our Father in heaven did right before their eyes. Okay. Verse 6. With fiery serpents among a big the people, and much people of Israel died. So as you see, Father don't play. He gets tired of your foolishness, of your faithfulness. He's saying, how much more do I have to prove myself to you? How much more will you continue to disrespect me, O vessels of clay? Again, he said, fear the one who could destroy the body and the soul in hell, Sheol. Fear him. But they speak foolishly and have no reverence, no honor, no fear. Okay? Verse 7. Therefore the people came to Moshe and said, we have sinned. So Father has a way of getting your attention. Okay? So they say, we have sinned, we have spoken against Yahuwah and against thee. Pray thee unto Yahuwah that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. So notice it takes a righteous one to intercede for the wicked. Okay. Same thing with Yahushua HaMashiach. He is interceding for us. Our mediator, he's our intercessor upon a pole, and it came to pass that if a serpent has bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Now, this is where the heathens are misinterpreting what took place. This is an analogy or a foreshadowing of what would come in the renewed marriage. So I think there's a precept here for verse 9. Let me see. I thought there was a precept there, but I guess not. Let me go down to the bottom because I see a precept or something written there. So the precept you can find in 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 4, and John chapter 3, verse 14. So let us go to John chapter 3, verse 14. And we're also probably going to hit 2 Kings too. To understand why Moses didn't think of his own mind. He's still under the instruction of Yah. To understand why did he make a serpent of brass and put upon a pole and tell the people, look up, and you will be what? Deliverer of the snake bite. Okay. So let's look at 2 Kings 18:4. Places the images, cut down the gold and this have made to those the children of dear burn insect to it, and he called it Shen. I hope I pronounced it right. So this verse will prove unto you that when Moses made the brazen serpent, it was not to be worshipped as an idol. Okay, as an idol. Again, that was representing something that was to come or something that would be fulfilled. For this verse below this verse say, he trusts in the Lord God of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah, nor any that was before him. Okay. Something to meditate on. You probably want to go back and read the whole chapter right here. Let's prove to you that what Moshe did was not to be worshipped as an idol. But you know my people, they have a history of doing that. Now let's go to John chapter 3, verse 14. For it says here, as Moses lift up this in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man, the Son of Adam, be lifted up, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. This is the meaning and the correct interpretation. This is how the Father had Moshe to make the brazen serpent. So when they look upon that image, they was what deliver of the snake bite. It was to foreshadow what the Son of Man would do, that he shall deliver you from your sins so you can be redeemed back to the Father, so you can be returned back to your proper status, and that proper status be what? Adam, the Son of God. And when you become Adam as a son of God, you will have immortality, eternal life. That's what that represents. Not what the heathens do. The heathens made that image now and think that image or whatever they believe in from that image to come, they think they're going to be delivered. But your delivery is not from that, not from that idol. It's from Yahusha HaMashiach. His Father in heaven has given him all powers and authority because he has sacrificed his life. He has shed his blood, and through the blood, Only through blood can you be atoned from sin. That is a law and commandment of the Most High Yah. Okay. So now that we have set that foundation, so you can understand a little bit, probably why the Father had it set up why the 13th sign is not included. Now we can go to Wikipedia and look at sidereal versus tropical. Okay. And after that, we're going to look at what the prophets say, and that'll be another confirmation to you why we follow the 12 signs and not the 13 signs. Okay. So this tropical astrology. So what we first going to do to help us understand the definition of each term before we start reading this article, we're going to click on their sublink and get their definition first. So first, let us start with sidereal. Okay. Sidereal is a timekeeping system that astronomers use to locate celestial objects. Using sidereal time, it is possible to easily point a telescope to the proper coordinates in the night sky. In short, sidereal time is a time scale that is based on the Earth's rate of rotation, measured relative to the fixed stars. Okay. I think I might need to read the second paragraph. I'm just looking at it. I think I'll probably hold off for right now. But what it's basically saying, they use sidereal so they can find the precise location of a star, okay, or of a constellation. All right, based on the Earth's rate of rotation and measure relative to the fixed stars. The stars are fixed. That's what. Okay. Now let's look at the definition of tropical. A tropical year, also known as solar year, is the time that the sun takes to return to the same position in the cycle of season as seen from the earth. So I know in the past you may have heard me say sidereal is looking at from the earth view, and tropical is looking at the sun circuit. Okay. So in this definition, they said as seen from the earth. So what it's saying that if you look at the sun circuit from the earth, you're looking at how long it takes the sun to complete its circuit. I know it's a little bit confusing. I know it's throwing you off, but the key word here is looking at the time it takes the sun to return to the same position in the cycle of seasons. How many seasons we have is 4 seasons. For example, the time from vernal equinox to vernal equinox, or from summer solstice to summer solstice. This different from the time it takes Earth to complete one full orbit around the sun. Now, I know a lot of Israelites don't agree with that because we know what the prophets say. We know the earth is in the center. And we know that these lights travel in and out through the doors. And when you go to second Enoch, it will give you where the course of the sun and the moon take place. It takes place in the fourth heaven. You want to read about that. That's in Second Enoch. The course of the sun and the moon take place in the fourth heaven. Okay. Like I said, this get very interesting. This coming from you building your foundation, taking all the knowledge that the Father has given unto the prophets and comparing to what the heathens have written. This is how we are able to eliminate what is true and what is false, what is correct and what is wrong. Okay. So let me read this again. This different from the time it takes the earth to complete one full orbit around the sun as measured with respect to the fixed stars. Do y'all hear that? And the fixed stars dealing with what? The sidereal year by about 20 minutes because of the precision of the equinox. This verse, yeah, you want to highlight, you want to come back and meditate on this. Okay. Very important. So what we're learning the difference is tropical year is looking at how the sun moves, and it's looking at how long it takes to come back to the same point. And the point that we're talking about, because remember what he told the Israelite, he said, your year will begin in spring, in the month of Aviv. And we know through the prophet Enoch, the sign for that is when the sun enter into what the Gentile call Aries, which is the first sign. And on that day, that's when we have daylight about equal to night. So when we look at the time for the sun to come back to that point, that is what that is what tropical years is. It's looking at the sun year, looking at how the sun moves. In other words, looking at how long does it take the sun to come back to the same point. And that same point is looking at the vernal equinox. Now, Cyril is looking at the this okay difference, because I want to get my words right. So solar year is going to differ from this. It differs how, because when you're looking at Cyril, it's looking at the time it takes the Earth to complete one full orbit around the sun as measured with respect to fixed stars by about 20 minutes of precision. Looking at a point of view. And that's why you hear me say it's looking at the Earth point of view. Should look at sun point of view. And this is why there's a big difference between those two types of years. Huge difference. And Enoch is the prophet who will confirm what I'm saying to you. Because when Enoch talk about the what's the word I'm looking for? When Enoch is talking about the seasons, he used two lights that let us know how the seasons begin and end. And those two lights are the sun and Mazzaroth. And when you go to the book of Job in the side note of the King James 6:11, you will learn that Mazzaroth means 12 signs, not 13 signs, but 12 signs. So this is why the 13th sign is not included. That is not the law. That's not the commandment of Yah. That's not how he set that up to be. Okay. All right. So tropical year is looking at the sun, at how the sun moves within the course of heaven. Okay. Now let us go back. Sidereal and tropical are terms used to describe two different definitions of a year. Okay. In astrology, they refer to two different systems of elliptic coordinates used to divide the ecliptic to 12 signs. Each sign is divided in 30 degrees, making a total of 360. So we know 360 makes a what? A circular shape or a circuit. And notice that each sign is divided into 30 degrees. When you look at the formula that okay, because we know some things have changed, and second Enoch will give you the change of the sun. When things was in perfection, we had sun to be a total of 364 days, 30 and 39. So when you study Enoch's writings, you learn that the sun moved about a degree a day, meaning that it was in each sign of Mazzaroth either 30 days or 31 days. Okay. And this is what your tropical year. Do y'all see what I'm saying now? With your father side, because side we're gonna be a little bit more different, y'all. Okay. And for example, I had just showed y'all what it was said in that article dealing with the serpent bearer. Because according to the astronomical way, I make sure, yeah, according to the astronomical way, the sun would be in front of the serpent bearer from November the 3rd to the December the 18th, and that's only 18 to 19 days. That does not fit into the law and the commandment of how many days the sun should be into each sign. Okay. Let's keep reading. Astrology. Okay, so they give us the breakdown of the Cyrus system of astrology. Remember, there's a difference between astrology and astronomy. I told you all these terms the heathen have. Like I said, so let's see what they say about this. Okay, while Cyrus system of astrology define the signs relative to the apparent backwards movement of fixed stars about 1 degree every 72 years from the perspective of the earth. Do y'all see that? It's giving you from the perspective of the earth. And notice here it's talking about backwards movement of stars. And we know these things, but they trying to say these stars are fixed. It's not the Gregorian calendar fixed. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? All right. Now, when we look at the tropical system that's dealing with the solar year, the tropical system defines zero degrees of Aries, because that's your starting point, to coincide with the vernal point or vernal equinox, also known as the March equinox in the northern hemisphere, and define the rest of the zodiac from this point. So when you look at the tropical system, this is why we have Aries to the 0 degree, because that's 360 degrees. Okay. So this is how we get 12 signs and not 13, because we're looking from the sun's point of view, how the sun begins and ends. That's why. We're not looking from the earth point of view. Big difference. Let us continue to read. Sidereal astronomy maintains the alignment between signs and constellation via corrected system known as Ayanam Sanskrit and Ayana movement plus AMSA, which means component, to allow for the observed precision of equinox. Whereas tropical, this is dealing with solar year now, whereas tropical or solar year astronomy ignores precision. So what they're talking about, they're looking at precise exactness. Again, this is something that they are following, but they're not following the laws and the commandments of Yah. And this is why they're running into the 13th sign. Again, they're looking at what? The signs related to the apparent backwards movement of fixed stars. Yeah, that word right now, backwards, we know it don't move back, it moves forward. So we ought to know why, because they're looking from the earth point of view, because they're going by the earth rotation. And by doing that, this is why they run into this problem. This has caused the two systems, which were aligned around 2,000 years ago, to drift apart over the centuries. Now, that A system used in Hindu astrology, also known as Vedic astrology, include the LA and the Rama A. The Fagan-Bradley A is an example of an A system used in Western sidereal astrology. As the 2020 sun signs calculated using the SYA were around 23 degrees behind the tropical sign. Do y'all see that? Because they're following something else, they're getting what, 23 degrees behind the tropical sun sign, which kind of sounds a lot like with the Gregorian calendar or the Julian calendar. They supposed to be following the sun, but they didn't follow the sun correctly. Therefore, they was losing time. So in the year of what, 1482? In Italy, they had to make a change. They was like 10 days behind the sun year, so they had to catch up. They had to speed time up. Same thing in America. I think it was 1752. Because they weren't following the sun correctly, they was getting behind. They was losing time. Okay. Per these calculations, persons between March to April the 12th, for instance, would have the sun sign of Pisces. By contrast, persons born between March the 21st to April the 19th will have the sun sign of Aries per tropical calculation. Do y'all see that? It's a big difference. So we know Pisces is usually the 12th sign. Okay. It is the 12th sign. So if you follow sidereal, you're going to be behind time. But if you follow the tropical year, which is the solar year, looking at how the sun moves in its circuit, going from the spring equinox to the spring equinox, you will get the correct sign, which is Aries, which is the first sign in the year. Very important. Now you see why we go by tropical, not by sidereal. Let us continue to read. Sidereal Fagan, a Western sidereal astronomer, assumed the origin of the zodiac to be based on a major conjunction that occurred in 786 BC, when the vernal equinox lay somewhere in the mid-Aries, corresponding to a difference of some gap. Okay. A huge gap. And not follow the correct thing. Astronomic zodiac. So let's read about astronomic zodiac. A small number of sidereal astronomers do not take the astrological signs as an equal division of the ecliptic, but define their signs based on the actual width of the individual constellation. They also include constellations that are disregarded by the traditional zodiac, but are still in contact with the ecliptic. Again, they don't follow the same standard as the tropical, as dividing it out equally by 30 degrees. But we know based on the formula, it's 30, 30, 31. Then when you get to second Enoch, you will learn that there was another day added, and it has a lot to do with Enoch going to heaven and things that he wrote. We represent the 365 of his age and the 366. You'll go back and see when you read his writings. Let us continue to read. For the purpose of determining constellation contact with the ecliptic, the constellation boundaries as defined by the International Astronomical Union, there they go, in 1930 are used. So they define their own boundaries. They're not going by the Father's standard. They're going by a different standard. For example, the sun entered the IAU boundary of Aries on April 19 at the lower right corner. Now we know already this year, we know usually the equinox falls in March. And we can tell by the climate. We can also tell by things that are presented in the earth with the crops and also with the animals. So already you can see it's not lining up. They are way behind. They are losing time. Very important. This is the example they give y'all. Very important to see. So, for example, the sun enters the IAU boundaries of Aries on April the 9th. Mm, mm. As the first sign rather than of Aries, way off. The IAU defined the constellation boundaries without consideration of astrological purposes. The dates the sun passed through the 12 astrological constellation of the ecliptic, okay, are listed below, accurate to the year 2011. The dates will progress by an increment of 1 day every 70.5 years. Okay. The corresponding tropical and sidereal dates are given as well. Okay. So now you see why there's a big difference with tropical versus sidereal and versus the IAU boundaries. Okay. Big difference. So now you see why we follow tropical split aligns toward Prophet Enoch's rights. So the last thing we're going to look at is right. This that he has given us, and this is so again for confirmation about the course of the sun and the moon, you can find it chapter and on page 233. Right there. That's done with the fourth heaven. And it goes all the way to and Father want me to point this out to you. Notice that they are in the fourth heaven. So it's proven to you that these lights are moving from one realm of heaven to another realm of heaven. So they are coming from the fourth heaven to the first firmament or the first heaven through the door, through the portal. This is why when you see the sun going down, we don't see him anymore until he rises out of the door. Like I said, this knowledge is going to baffle the heathens. because of what they've been taught in their school. So it would go all the way up until you get to the fifth heaven, and that would be in on page 239. Your time, okay? Now the chapter we can go back because we talked about this before in class, but this you problem solve. You know, when you come across something you're not for sure if follow this, do I follow this? Is this of your way? And what you have to do, you have to go back to your foundation. You have to look at what was the standards, what was the knowledge that he gave into your. So that one, you know, 239. Then we're going to page 244 because then we're going to learn where the home of Mazzaroth is. Okay, 244 in Enoch. And we're going to go to verse 7. And I saw the eighth heaven, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Mazzuloth, which means zodiac, the changer of seasons, of drought and of wet, and of the 12 constellation of the circle of the firmament, which are above the seventh heaven. So the eighth heaven is above the seventh heaven. That means you're going up. Okay. Now we're about to learn where the 12 star constellation is located. Okay. So it gave us what takes place in the eighth heaven. Verse 8. And I saw the ninth heaven. So in the ninth heaven, which is called in the Hebrew tongue, Kachavim, where are the heavenly homes of the 12 constellation of the circle of the firmament. So your 12-star constellation or your 12 signs home is in the ninth heaven. This is proven unto you how we see them in the earth. They come through the doors. Remember, there are doors and windows. It's so much that you do not understand of what the Father has created. So now you see why the heathens are baffled and they're going back and forth between sidereal and tropical. But the tropical is prevailing over the sidereal, showing you how it aligns up with the equinox. Because notice how it falls around the equinox day. And it falls on the correct sign of Mazzaroth. So this is confirmation to you why we do not have the 13th sign in Mazzaroth. This is dealing with something else. This sign represents something else. This sign represents those who worship the Satan. Remember, I told you how to meditate on the word bearer and holder. These are the ones who uphold or lift or worship Baal, which is Satan, that old serpent, the dragon, the devil. And he had deceived the whole world, for he is the father of lies. And he shall lead them to death. For he is the angel or the principality of death and destruction. And I love how the Father created this sign, but the Father made it clear that this sign would not be a part of Mazzaroth, for Mazzaroth is only 12 sign, representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Just like when you look at the children of Israel, he had 13 children because Dinah was a twin to Zabulon. But you don't see 13 expressed only in the moon circuit because the he regulates the sheep. Now, when you look at 12, the reason why we see Mazzaroth is 12 because Mazzaroth is a he and he hangs out with the he, with the sun, and them two work together to let us know when the seasons begin to end, and they regulate the moon, they regulate the she. Everything is going hand in hand. And when you look at the children, he took Levi separate unto himself because he would be their inheritance. He didn't get them land. Therefore, the second son of Joseph would take the place of Levi, only leaving 12 tribes that have land inheritance. You all see how everything lines up. So thank you, Father, for giving us an understanding between the difference between sidereal and tropical. As we see, those who follow sidereal are going to be losing time. They're going to be out of order, out of season. They're not going to be lined up with what we call at the end of the year is the Tekafar. That's with your fall equinox. At the beginning of the year, you have your equinox. That's when, you know, both these points, when we have the sun rise on the east point, and on that day, that's when you have daylight equal to night. But because Israel is not restored in her proper place, you will see a slight difference between the day and night when they're not totally equal, because the earth has shifted herself. Yes, the earth shifted herself. And the Father talks about this in his prophetic message. The earth has shifted herself and she's no longer in line with the heavens because Israel has not been restored in her proper place. Anyway, signs of Father speaking so much unto us. Check out the book of Enoch. There is a PDF, a version of this. This is by John.The. Great book to read. Like I said, I thank the Father for giving Jews of Ethiopia all the books because you know of what the heathen done some terrible, terrible things. And can I get back to the top? I had to just scroll all the way up then. But it's by Joseph B. Lumpkin. Um, the books of Enoch of the first, second, and third. Like I said, you know, those are great reads to help you understand. And I love how he includes a more accurate image of what the Israelites look like. I like how he did that. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this message. I hope you understand what Syria is. Take this time now to compare, okay? And this is nothing to debate with those who have not gotten the full understanding why we follow tropical versus Cyril, but just pray for them. Just pray for them. But you continue to grow in Yah. You continue to go where He wants you to go. All right. But for those who are stumbling right now, just pray for them. Pray for them. All right. Just bring it back to this picture. So again, those who want to follow that sign, go ahead. We are not serpent bearers or holder. That sign is to let you know what kingdom you are in and of those who are his children. Remember, Satan has his children too. Remember, Satan's the father of lies, so that's what his children is, what the children of lies too. And they follow the things of darkness. All right, my brothers and sisters, continue to preach the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for it's truly at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation, as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. The Lamb set the example of the water baptism and of the Holy Spirit baptism, and the apostle continued them both. And the Father made this so simple, y'all, for us, that if you have no one to baptize you, He has you covered. For the water is the second witness in the earth. The heavens and the earth are a witness unto Him, and they can report back unto Him of those who are entered into the covenant. Also, the same thing with the Holy Spirit baptism. Father made it simple for us, y'all. He gives it freely. Freely. He don't charge you. So for those who want the Holy Spirit baptism, He says through the living word, all you have to do is ask in the name of my Son, Yahusha HaMashiach, and I shall give it unto you according to your heart, your faith, and your words. Love you all, and shalom.